Hello everybody, I'm Andrea Gómez and today we have a special guest visiting us from Denver, Colorado with an amazing story. Sometimes we hear that people have been accomplished things, we hear the glory, but we don't know the process. And that's why today, welcome to Houston, Manuel Aragon.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Manuel, we met a couple of months ago, and of course, everybody was talking about your business, everything that you have been accomplished in life. You're very young, and you've been hustling all your life. But when I saw you on the stage talking about your story, is when I was like, wow. You know, we connect in a different ways, different stories, but it's when you say, taking an opportunity in life and not go through what the hard times that you've been living, but taking that as an opportunity to become better. And that's for your story. So, Manuel, first of all, thank you for being in Houston.
Thank you.
And for wanting to not only to tell your story, but also to expand your business and helping others.
Yes.
So let's start, Manuel, with when you were little. Telling me where you're from, where you were born, your family, parents, siblings. Let's start from the beginning.
I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado. Childhood was decent up until, I think family dynamics were tough out the gate. Dad got locked up when I was young. Mom got exposed to a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily something that she wanted to get into. I think it was family dynamics as well. She got exposed to a drug lifestyle very young, and it kind of just snowballed into a family dynamic where it was just a broken home. Dad tried very hard. I got exposed to a lot of things very young. To the point where I was always a book smart kid, but education was always in the background because I would always go home to chaos or get exposed to situations where it's violence. I got robbed from my bike in the second grade at knife point, little stuff like that where it almost developed this mindset where I thought it was normal. All the stuff I was exposed to is like, oh, it's just another day in the neighborhood, and because I was so secluded to that environment, I thought it was acceptable. But that was the beginning. Dad and Mom always did a good job of keeping me in school, reading to me, understanding when they were in their right senses and focused. Very, very good parents. But Dad worked 2 jobs. Mom got into a lifestyle that didn't necessarily benefit us as kids, and it left me to kind of learn things on my own. So developed an independent mind state, and I adapted to the things around me where I started hustling young, started selling weed in 7th, 6th grade, very young. Bought my first gun in 7th grade. So very, very unfortunate part of the story, to the point where I got in fights in 6th grade, expelled in 7th grade, expelled in 8th grade, took a gun to school and fired 6 shots in the 9th grade. And that
we're gonna develop that part more.
Yeah, so that's the piece of it I'll hold off on. But Denver, Colorado is my birthplace, and that's where it all started. I love the city I'm from. I love my family, and I'm thankful to use the stuff that I've been through as a starting point to maybe help somebody else to where they don't have to experience that ugly part of life.
We're gonna go down the road with that story, where you took that life into an opportunity. But I want to go back of your childhood. Sometimes people say, like, what is your best memories when you were a kid? And now, what is the worst? So let's start it from the good ones, and then tell me the bad ones.
My favorite childhood memory is I got an award from Bill Clinton in the 5th grade for academic excellence. So always book smart. To the point where 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, we used to have these contests where was 100 multiplication problems, and first student done got a Snickers bar. So second grade, I had the same teacher, second, third grade, and I lost one of the competitions. You know, a kid next to me got like, you know, it was whoever could complete them the fastest. And I went home and I was like, okay, next year no one's gonna beat me. And I won, I don't know, it was like 40 weeks in a row I won a Snickers bar in third grade. So always like, you know, applied myself in school, but that was probably the most happy point was education because it came so easy for me. I always just, I think, accelerated and learned a lot faster than the students around me. So that was my happy place, was school.
So school was your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you feel safe.
Yeah.
When you were going home, that was not your comfort zone?
Not necessarily, no, I would say no. I think it was a level of vacancy and was more of go sit in the corner and play with these blocks, let me put this movie on for you. Not a ton of attention to what my needs were from the environment I was in. And it's not to use that as an excuse, but it was just the reality of what it was.
Yeah. And you had brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother, older sister, and I want to say fifth grade, my dad ended up adopting a couple cousins, Amber and Gabe, so they became siblings. So it was a family of 5 kids and single dad, kind of fifth grade moving forward.
When you say single dad, is what happened to your mom?
So my parents got divorced in the 5th grade. So my mom, she had her personal struggles kind of throughout my childhood. They had their fallout. Dad decided to divorce, and you know, mom went her way, dad went his way. But my dad was always working 2 jobs, so he wasn't home a ton.
So your mom were not home, but dad was always, even though that he was home, he wasn't.
Correct. Yeah, it was always, I think. I don't want to paint it in the wrong light. He was always on edge. He was working, you know, supporting 5 kids on his own. I can only imagine the stress he was going through, but I think it developed a level of resentment in me because I felt like you're always mad. You're always this. You know, I would tell myself this stuff at that age where I just didn't want to be home. So I'd go run off in the streets and do the stuff that I felt like was comfortable to me in that moment.
So what was your environment besides that environment at home? I mean, your friends, they were getting in trouble. What was going on around you besides what was happening already at home?
I wouldn't even say I had friends at that age. I had associates. I ran with the kids that were older than me always. You know, I'm 12 hanging out with 15-year-olds, 14 hanging out with 18-year-olds. So the kids around me, they were smoking weed, selling weed, you know, doing stuff, shoplifting at stores. I mean, I got arrested shoplifting, I think 7th grade was the first time, stealing pants at the mall. Always doing mischievous stuff, and I think it was me looking for that acceptance in a friend group. Mm-hmm. But I was, I think, even smart enough at that age to understand I shouldn't be doing this, but what else is there to do? You know, the schoolwork always got done. I always had good grades, but it was too easy for me. I don't want to say that arrogantly, but school was it was hard to keep me entertained in the school environment. And instead of finding a healthy outlet to thrive, I went and entertained negativity.
So growing with that environment that you said at some point just become like normal, that was your normal. And you said that you bought a gun at the age of 12.
Well, I didn't necessarily buy it. I traded a PlayStation 2 and a couple games for it.
For a gun?
Yeah.
So who will be selling a gun to a 12 or 13 years old or exchanging for that?
You'll be surprised how much stuff's in the neighborhood. I mean, in that environment, I mean, I won't say nobody's names, but I mean, I had a friend in the family who showed me 15 grand cash, a couple guns, and 5 duffel bags full of weed at that age. So it wasn't,
wow.
You know, you develop this mindset of, oh, this is the Scarface of the neighborhood, I want to be like him. When you're that young, you don't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, not to realize like $15,000 seems like a ton of money at that age, but you know, looking back now, it's like, oh, I could have died for something so minimal, to the point where, and the stuff that I was exposed to, you know, love my mom to death, but some of the environments that she was in, you know, you see these people, they'll rip you off for $200, like they'll rob you for $20, they'll, you know, sell your Game Boy to get high, like just little stuff where it was, it wasn't normal, but I thought it was.
Yeah, of course. And then what happened with that gun? Because that gun is like, it was like a breaking point for you because that changed your life. Not the gun, but what you did with that.
So that actually wasn't the gun. So so going through the neighborhood, so that was probably the end of 7th grade that happened. Dad ended up moving to a suburb of Denver sometime in that summer. I'm still running around the neighborhood. I ended up selling that gun, trading it for weed or something of that nature. But I got locked into a group of friends once I started at Random High School is where the gun incident started. Young freshmen started hanging out with seniors, running with the same group, still smoking weed, getting high, doing stupid stuff. And there was an opportunity to buy another gun, so me and my friend pitched in and bought another gun. And that's a different situation. I don't think the intentions was ever to hurt anybody. It was more of, we have access to this, why not?
Easy.
And we would trade it, go back and forth to the point where, funny story, to the point where my friend got caught with the gun at home. His mom found it. And here's young me, naive, beg my mom, hey, go pick up this gun for me, and to the point where it could have avoided maybe the situation that happened a few months later. But it was always just miscellaneous stuff going on. So it wasn't an isolated incident where I just bought one gun and then kept it for 2 years. It was, buy, sell it, hustler mentality where, I could, buy this for $200, sell it for $400. That was always the mindset I was in.
And you were like learning how to use the gun?
Yeah, I mean, we would go fire it in open fields, stuff like that. Not to the point where, we're trying to kill anybody or plan to do anything illegal.
But when a 12, 13 years old is learning how to bike or doing other stuff or playing with their friends, you guys were like using guns.
Yeah,
And what happened after that?
So the incident at school started with an altercation. One of my friends got jumped. I had a gun a couple months before that, but it was more of a, hey, Manny, I have a problem with so-and-so, and instead of me stepping away, I inserted myself in an altercation that had nothing to do with me, and I felt like I was supposed to stick up for my friend. I played football with him for a couple years, so it was more of that childhood, like, oh, you mess with my friend, you mess with me, and it could have been something as simple as, what are you looking at in the hallway?
Yeah.
And in that moment, like I said, it was more of like, this is a big problem. Whereas looking back now to the point, I can't even remember why the altercation started. That's how small it was.
So you ended up in jail. Tell us about that.
So, in-school gun incident happened. State of Colorado took it very serious. They charged me as an adult at age 14. So 17 felony counts. My dad hired a lawyer, thank God for him. I ended up taking an adult felony on my record. The trade-off was I would be sentenced as a juvenile, so I got sentenced to 2 years to the Department of Human Services. So it was an ugly experience because I was underage. I was separated from the adults because it was a high-profile case. All the publicity behind it. It was the first in-school guns incident after Columbine. They put me on 23-1. So,
Wow.
I go from a naive, free, arrogant little kid to being isolated 23-1 for multiple days. It was very humbling. And I was waiting to be sentenced, go through the system process, went from an adult facility back to Greeley to wait for transportation to Lookout Mountain where I served 20 months. But that process was probably the best thing that could have happened to me looking back now, because on the road that I was on, it could have ended a lot worse.
Along the side, we were talking off the camera and you were saying cousins also got into jail and, a lot of things were happening while you are in jail, that it was also, like getting in problems, your mom with drugs. It was a lot of things going on. So tell me about that.
And I think, so Dad turned his life around probably 5th grade forward. So prior to that, he had his struggles. he was probably the foundation for me turning my life around 5th grade forward. But I think there was a disconnect at that point of my life where I was mad at dad for divorcing mom, all this internal stuff that I don't think I confronted in that moment. But it was just a lot of justification for my bad behavior. And poor me, I wanted attention, didn't know how to I think, navigate that path. And instead of me going home like, hey dad, I want some love, help me with my homework, or hey mom, can you spend the weekend with me? It was, my friend has an ounce of weed, let's go joyride a car, get high, and go get in trouble.
Like you were victimizing yourself.
Right, and making it worse.
And making it worse. Fast forward, you came out of jail. What did you learn from that experience? What did you learn from that environment that you were living that at some point became the natural or normal? And now, what do you do with that? And instead of keep victimizing yourself and probably become another statistic, and you change your life, and now you're changing people's life.
I think what I learned from that situation is I had the victim mentality going into that situation. Poor me, my parents don't care, nobody loves me, nobody pays attention to me, was the thought process until I sit in isolation, do a lot of self-reflection, and then you plant me around 200 kids who have been in trouble like me, and I start comparing my life to theirs. And it's like, okay, this person doesn't have parents. This person is locked up for murdering his parents. This person's doing a 7-year bid and he's 16 years old. This person's going to Department of Corrections after this. And it taught me to say, okay, my 2-year sentence ain't that bad. Considering I took a gun to school, fired it, and I could have killed somebody. So I started to go from victim mentality to, I think, gratitude. And I think we talked about it this morning where I had the attitude of my life's bad, until I met people whose lives were a lot worse. And it just made me gracious for the opportunities. I got the visits, my family would come see me. But now I just operate with the analogy of, I think I told you this morning, the man with no shoes complained till he met the man with no feet. Mm-hmm. And I remind myself of that at least once a week because it could be so much worse than what it was.
And now, 2 years ago, you also went through a divorce.
Yes.
So a lot of things keep happening in your life, and you keep yourself straightforward and keep moving forward and keep doing things. And you have not only, you build a business, but you build a community that now you're helping.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
I think from a young age, there's always been some type of trauma going on. And with my accounting mind, I think I look at life like it's debits and credits. There's good stuff, there's bad stuff, and somewhere in between is balance. And as long as everything's balanced, that's the whole point of being an accountant. So yeah, I could complain about these 10 things that went wrong, or I could focus on the 10 things that went right today. And the ability to move forward through stuff that's going on, I don't think that the bad stuff ever goes away. I mean, there's still problems at home now, but I don't think living in that mentality is good for me or good for anybody I surround myself with. And if they do live in that mentality, I just try to separate myself. And that's what's helped me grow. But I think being able to take my life story to build a community is what leadership is about. But you can't really be a leader until you learn how to follow.
Absolutely. So what is your message right now? What are you doing these days? How do you took all that bad experience to building a successful, not only business, but successful stories that helping others?
I think business is something we all want to, I think, achieve a level of financial success where it develops comfort, but success for me isn't making money. It's more of giving my son the comfort and the love and the guidance that maybe I wanted at that age is what's important to me. That's success. Whereas, to fully answer your question, so I do taxes tax prep, tax planning, tax advisory, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll services. The goal is to expand those offerings nationwide, business to business, direct to consumer. But I want to have clients who want to grow, not just from a financial standpoint, but from a life standpoint. And that's what's important to me. So as I continue to branch off and grow this in multiple directions, I want people who see the vision, who understand that the businesses we participate in, they support the communities, but it has to be for good stuff. You know, it can't be negative thinking. I mean, I turn down opportunities every day because it doesn't align with where my heart posture is, and that's what's important.
And now to finalize, what would you tell the Manuel Aragon kids that now, I mean, you're a grown up now, but what would you tell the Manuel Aragon kids that probably are watching you, or the parents of any other Manuel, Manny, that are watching us and are learning from your story?
I would say, if I'm talking to a 12-year-old me, like, speak up. There's a voice behind the pain, the stuff you hide, the mentality of poor me. Like, everything's resolvable, you just got to communicate. And that's even as an adult. Like, you know, the relationship struggles, the whatever stuff that you're going through, communication's where it starts, but also self-accountability. You know, that's where balance is important. And if you can't look in the mirror and say, I could be better today, then I can't go outside and be better for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It has to start in the living room, and then once that foundation's set, then you can branch off and build a community.
Well, Manuel, this interview is going to have a second part for sure, and it will be my colleague Willie Lora is going to talk about with you about your business. But for now, I mean, something that I've been learning also is like you cannot control what others do. You cannot control the environment that you're being raised. You cannot control who's your parents, what other people do. You can only control how you react and what to take out of that and make yourself a better person. Thank you so much, Manuel. Welcome to Houston, and this is just the beginning of a lot of visiting here in Houston, and I wish you the best. Thank you for sharing your story, because I know it's not easy to share your story.
I appreciate you.